Good evening. Welcome to Premier League Forecast, the FA Cup special brought to us by bookmakers.com. It's me, Chris Brack. It's Kev. It's the other one. I mean, Luke. Because come on, Luke, I forgot your name twice now. And we've got a new guest on. We've got Jafo from Wolves Fan Podcast. Is that right?
Yeah.
I got that
Wolves
wrong.
Fancast, yeah.
Oh, it's close.
It's close, yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks. Happy New Year to you all. Hopefully you all enjoy the New Year and get some good results for Liverpool. Hopefully not on the weekend though. So
Listen,
hopefully see a bit of an upturn.
It went grand up until New Year's Eve, then we kind of forgot to play football after that bit. So Luke, you're back.
I know I'm back.
I know people thought you'd left. I'd forgotten you. I'd forgotten you. That's as long as I've seen you.
Didn't even remember my name.
I know. The other one, the one always said to be stick normally. So you all right though?
Yep, yeah, not too bad. I've had a nice 3 weeks off. Not watched a lot of football. That's probably a good thing.
Kev,
but I'm back now.
Kev, what's going on? We've got the wrong contracts. He's had 3 weeks off. Sean, had 3 weeks off. Keith's had 3 weeks and half a show off. If you watched last night's show, Keith's Wi-Fi went walkies halfway through, which was quite funny.
Oh, well. Yeah, it was. I mean, look, Luke. Let's put it this way, mate. Performance-wise, you ain't missed much.
The only game I watched was Brentford. That was the only game I watched over Christmas was Brentford-Liverpool.
Oh, I'm blaming you then, Luke. It's your fault. It was all right. I thought you talked about us. I thought you were talking about the performance of me and you, Kev, then.
No, it's been. Look, I've enjoyed the week, mate. It's been quite. I enjoyed the shows this week. Some really good shows all week long. Last night was brilliant as well. But third round of the FA Cup, it's like one of the dates in the calendar that earmarked, and I think it's mainly a thing in England more than it is for fans who are outside of England. The FA Cup is heralded as the be-all for domestic cup competitions. So you always see new managers when they first come in, their first press conferences, they're always asked, the FA Cup, what's your first memory and what have you. We'll get on to our memories later on tonight, but there's
Luke, the chat wants to know, did you get robbed because you haven't got loads of stuff behind you?
Yeah, no, I was wondering.
I'm downstairs. Don't worry, my office is still as messy as ever.
Oh, that's all right then, because people get concerned about you. But yeah, as Kev's leading in with, we'll start with some very sad news. Gianluca Vialli, unfortunately, passed away today after a battle with a cancer. Kev, what a player!
Yeah, Gianluca Vialli.
Golazzo, isn't it? You think of
Golazzo, and you think of him, and you think of him in the Sampdoria kit and a full head of hair. It wasn't until he went to Juventus that he shaved the head and he looked proper mean. But he was up there at the time as one of the best strikers in world football, and he pretty much won everything. As a player and as a manager, he was so successful on and off the pitch. But my lasting memory of Luca Vialli isn't the goals at all. It will be the image of him and Mancini after winning the Euros at Wembley, and seeing him on the pitch. He'd had his diagnosis in 2017, and he'd been in remission, and you knew that the eventuality that this was going to come. But when you saw the pure emotion in the two of them have been, their careers are so linked. Vialli and Mancini, as players, as coaches, as managers, and opposite dugouts, he's unreal. And the thing is, if you go on YouTube and you watch compilation of his goals, you go and watch his goals: right foot, left foot, head, volley, bicycle kick, outside the box, dribble, free kick. He could do everything. He was just, I suppose, he was unfortunate that R9 was around. If R9 wasn't around at the time, he would have been right up there at the very tip top of the world game.
As a player, he was brilliant. I mean,
superb.
He won 2 Serie A's. He won about 4 Coppa Italias. He won the Champions League. He was a runner-up in the UEFA Cup as well. And then he went to Chelsea. And I'll be honest, when he went to Chelsea, that was seen as it was a bit of a coup, really. Because I was like, what the hell? Didn't think he'd go to Chelsea. And he went and won things with Chelsea and then became the manager and carried on winning as a manager as well. He's very, very likable as well, which is very hard for someone who plays for Chelsea. But actually, he was extremely likable.
He was. He was one of the guys that you'd look at and you're like, you wish nice things for him. You see the tributes that have been paid from players who played with him, fans, but rival managers, rival players, and people who were in TV, even the guys like Ian Wright and Roy Keane who were on punditry tonight for ITV, glowing tributes for him. And it's because he's 58. And it's when Klopp did his press conference today, Klopp's 55. And it's like, when it was Pele, it was a long illness. He was into his 80s. It was like, you've had a really full life. But when it's someone who's 58, struck down with years to go, that's when it's a tough one.
Yeah, it's really, really sad loss for football. And, hopefully his family are okay. But yeah, so that wasn't a big start today. So looking at the FA, what we're going to do is we'll do some quick fire round stuff looking at the FA codes, but we'll focus on one of the bigger games. So Sunday, we've got Man City at home to Chelsea. Now, Luke, probably when this was drawn, we thought, this could be a tasty game. However, since then, I think Chelsea have got about 8 players out injured. Apparently, they're the only club that gets injuries, but they've got 8 players out injured. And I think City have literally got Laporte out, and then they've got all the World Cup lads who probably start this game. So, don't know, how do you see this? It seems to me like I would think a fairly routine City win. I think this game's come at the wrong time for Chelsea.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I don't know whether or not City will go full strength. I will imagine that they'll rotate pretty heavily. But yeah, it seems pretty straightforward for City. Chelsea, under Potter, haven't really got them going. Obviously, they've got loads of injuries. I think I watched a little bit of the end of their Premier League game. Thought Chelsea did all right keeping the ball. But apart from that, they've got nothing up front. Nothing to worry City. So I imagine it'll be a pretty routine win for City. Maybe 2-3, maybe 4-0. Just depends on. It just depends on if City want to hammer home going through, whether or not they just want a nice, quick 1-2 goals, and then we'll just keep the ball for the rest of the game. So I think that'll be a game that for the neutral, probably you'd want to avoid watching because it's 90% chance that Chelsea are going out.
Yeah. Jafo, how are you sort of seeing this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you say, Chelsea just haven't performed under Potter, and they just seem to be early Chelsea under Abramovich, again under Todd Bowley. They're just trying to throw money at a situation, but just not getting results. I mean, the money that they're talking about for Enzo Fernandez is ridiculous. But I can't see what Potter's doing with his game plan. He's struggling to stamp any sort of authority and identity onto a team. There's no cohesion, there's no consistency, and for that reason, that, as we were saying before the show, they're probably not going to finish in the top 4, and as you say, should be a routine win for City, bar some kind of upset.
Do you think Potter's in trouble? I mean, he's only been there a short period of time, but Chelsea aren't renowned, Jafo, for sticking with managers very long. It takes 3 months for Chelsea, and that could be you done pretty much. It's
tough, and to be honest, he probably does need a summer transfer window. I think it's trying to give him a January would be to be harsh, because as we know, it's tough to get players in during the January window, and to really change something halfway through a season is difficult. And what he wants to do and what he wants to do at Chelsea is mould the club in his vision in his mind, and he's finding it difficult without his players. Cucurella's come in. He's looking at Fernandez, but really, you still got players like Azpilicueta there who've been there a long time, and Thiago Silva at the end of his career. There's going to be some kind of mass overhaul needed eventually, and hopefully Potter gets the chance to do that because he's deserved it. The work that he did at Brighton was fantastic, and I want to see him succeed because there's not many English managers out there who've done what he's done and achieved what he has, and to see some English managers out there doing well and at big clubs would be quite refreshing.
Kev, how do you see it? Because I mean, for Potter, now some of these players obviously they're not the ones he's bought, but experienced players like Koulibaly, Aubameyang, they're just not working out. both keepers seem to be a bit of a disaster class at the moment. I mean, the City winner the other night was schoolboy stuff from a very experienced goalkeeper. And unfortunately, their most key player is probably Pulisic and Kante, and they're both injured. And both injured quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, they've spent ballpark 300 million.
Mm-hmm.
And they brought in a centre back from, I think it's Monaco or Marseille.
Yeah.
A young striker from Molde as well.
A young striker from Denmark, highly rated, Fofana.
Brazilian youngster as well, I think.
Yeah, lined up. The thing is, you can see the paw prints of Potter and the team that he's brought in some of the transfers, but by no means all of them. The Aubameyang transfer it made no sense. I mean, he's a checkbook player, always was a checkbook player, always will be a checkbook player. And Koulibaly is a good defender, but you put him next to Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva, for me, is still the best reader of a game as a centre-back in the world. I put him up there with anyone when it comes to reading the game. But there comes a point when your mind wants you to do something and your body says no, because Father Time is catching up. That's where you need legs around you. And Koulibaly doesn't have those kind of legs. Cucurella looks a very expensive player at 62 million at the moment. When he was brought in, that was top dollar for him. And you look at it and you think, okay, there's a rebuild needed at Chelsea. But the problem Chelsea have is Abramovich ran up a £1.6 billion debt.
Got wiped out.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that it was wiped out. But it cost £1.6 billion to build and keep that team where it was in a 40,000-seater stadium in the most expensive area of London that it is to build, where you've got building restrictions left, right, and centre. They can't expand Stamford Bridge anymore. He committed to staying at Stamford Bridge, which means to stay at Stamford Bridge, they have to move to Wembley, apparently, for 3 years, demolish Stamford Bridge, build down 60 to 100 feet, and rebuild from 100 feet lower than where they are to expand the stadium up to where Tottenham Stadium is and where our stadium is going to be. And they're the kind of things that if Bowley doesn't want to have that level of debt for the long term, then he's going to have to address an awful lot of Chelsea. He's going
to find it very difficult to even do anything with the stadium because I think Chelsea fans own the pitch and apparently they've been quite vocal about you're not touching Stamford Bridge. And if Bowley's going to be interested, he's going to have to somehow change their minds or else.
Well, no,
they own the pitch. I think it's because they can't move. So if he's going to dig it up to regenerate it, that's what they want.
They can't move from Stamford Bridge to the ground. So they have to stay there, but the only way they can stay there is to go down to build up. And the cost of it, I've seen reports of over 2 billion of a stadium build.
So I mean, you think Tottenham's ground was 1 billion? That was a fresh, fresh site.
Fresh site, so,
and how was the new Bernabeu? That's probably similar.
That's probably similar, but that looks fantastic.
But I mean, I don't think that was 2 billion. I think that was close to the Tottenham.
Yeah.
1 billion.
But look, every which way I look at it, for the amount of investment that he's made, he's not going to want to go out in the third round of the FA Cup.
No.
Chelsea, for all of the result didn't go their way the other night, but the performance wasn't terrible. They threatened City at points in that game. And the thing is, I don't think they'll change much about their lineup, but I think City will. I think City will make changes, but the difference is, I suppose,
their changes are probably like Foden and Alvarez coming in.
Exactly. It's going to be when City rotate, they're rotating 6-7 players out for 6-7 players to come in who are all internationals.
Yeah.
Whereas if Chelsea did the same, when you look at the injuries, they brought on 3 kids the other night, and they were okay.
They did right, the kids, but
in the last 15 minutes, but you can't start them. Not away at City.
No.
So I expect City to go through, but I don't think it'll be easy. And you know what? This was one that wouldn't surprise me if it went to a replay, and neither side want the replay. I hope they get it. I really hope they get it.
Give us a score prediction.
I think 1-1. I think 1-1. and I really hope it goes to a replay, and I really hope it goes to extra time and penalties as well, just to spite him.
Yeah, me too.
Vindictive in any way, shape, or form. Like,
yeah, I think that I'd like that too, but I'm going 3-1 City. Jafo, what are you going?
I'm going 3-0 City. I can't see Chelsea getting anything in that game.
Luke,
You're being very flattering, Chris, saying that Chelsea are going to score 3-0 City.
well, it's an own goal.
Oh.
It'll be an own goal to score. You know, there'll be that new sub goalie they've got. I can't remember his name.
I just signed a fiend from Leicester, have they?
Was that sorry?
Yeah, I just signed a fella from Leicester.
Yeah, they've been watching his training sessions.
About face. He'll never live that down, the poor fella.
Well, can't be helped. What score did you say, Luke? You gave about 3-0. You stuck on 3-0 because you gave about 7 scores before. Cool. Right, so we're going to do some quick fires off in a minute, but first we're going to talk about FA Cup memories. And Luke's already laughing. So just a bit of a peek behind the curtain here. So I messaged Kev and Luke and said, listen, what are you going to say for your FA Cup memories? Because no point us all saying the same one, because that'd be rubbish. Luke, what's your FA Cup memory? Now, me and Kev knew that meant, your favourite. Jafo, if I say what's your FA Cup favourite to Wolves, it'd be your favourite. Luke says, Liverpool losing to Oldham. I was like, oh, all right. I was like,
it's got to be one of those shows.
It's got one of those shows. This show's going to take our own interesting turn if this is the way we're going. So I'll let you redeem yourself, Luke. Give us one of your FA Cup memories.
Well, this one isn't a memory so far back. This actually goes back to last season, the FA Cup semi-final.
Is that because it's the only one you can remember?
Manchester City.
Is this because it's the only one you can remember?
Yeah, pretty. Considering that when Chris has sent the message, I'm in the middle of work, so I'm thinking.
I mean, to be fair, I did send it to you at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Is he thinking good or bad? So I thought I just put the bad one in. I thought we're going through FA Cup shocks or something like that. So I thought,
not on a pre.
Oh, what's the best memory? I thought,
on a preview show, I'm going to try to be positive. Post show might not be that way, but preview, I'm going to try and be at least a little bit happy about it. My God. That was not a bad game, though, was it, Kev, beating City?
I'm just literally looking it up here now on online. 3-2. Look, you know better than to come to me to talk about.
Talk us through the goals, Kev. Can you remember any?
Yeah, no, not a single one.
You can't remember Sadio Mane tackling the keeper, which is the funny thing.
Charging down the keeper like a game.
You know what? I swear to God, when it comes to remembering individual games, I'm hopeless. There's a reason why I'm crap at quizzes. But the thing is, normally when it comes to the domestic cups, the last 5 years, knowing what we needed to do to keep in touch with City, I couldn't get invested in the domestic cups at all, because I just thought, if we have to do 90 plus points with the squad that we have, I was just praying to rotate heavily and just get through the rounds and do what you got to do. If you get knocked out, so be it. I wasn't that invested either way.
This year I am.
This year I am. 100% I am.
What else are we going to do?
Yeah, it's just like, and what, anytime you beat City is good. I don't remember the goals. I don't remember the game. I remember the final, and I remember it was a snooze fest and it was 0-0 and we won on pens. But in fairness, that final when we won it last year, we were lucky to win it. Chelsea were probably the better side over the 90 minutes and the extra time.
You just don't know the offside rule, do they? Unfortunately.
No. And you know what? As Luke's favorite game was that. My favorite game.
Oh, John's put Michael Thomas scoring against Sunderland in the FA Cup at 92. If you've not seen it, YouTube it's a cracking finish. Brilliant technique. It's real. Kev, you'd like it. Just what I'm sure you can. I will. Remember it. But
I can remember this one.
Go on, what's one you can remember? Then we'll go to the Jaffa.
Yeah, look, my favourite cup memory is the 86 Cup final.
Luke, how old were you in 86? Were you like...
Wasn't even born.
Wasn't even born.
Wasn't even a flicker in your daddy's eye.
That.
I mean, 86, I was only 3, so,
makes it worse. But Liverpool against Everton, we'd won the league, so we were going for the double. And back then, the double was rare. It really didn't happen. It was so off the wall that you could be this successful. And I was looking.
Paul's going down the Luke route. LFC in those white suits.
Oh God, yeah, that was horrendous. But you listen to this Liverpool lineup from '86, okay? The '86 final. Grobler, Mark Lawrenson, Jim Beglin, Stephen
Got it.
Nichol,
All right.
Ronnie Whelan, Alan Hansen, Dalglish, Craig Johnson, Ian Rush, Jan Mulby, and Kevin McDonald.
Oh, bad side that.
I'll tell you what, Steve McMahon was on the bench as an unused sub.
Which is a bit mad, isn't it?
Jan Mulby had 2 assists, and the 2 assists were unbelievable. But to be fair, Everton were the better side up until Rush scored the opening goal. And the Mulby pass to put Rush through was just such a brilliant slide rule pass. I think it was through the legs of the centre half, and Rush tucked it away. The second one, Mulby put across. It was like a Raheem Sterling back post tap in for Craig Johnson, and then Ronnie Whelan put one in for Ian Rush to finish it off. But I watched the highlights back of that game, and the commentator was on there, and he was on about Garrett. This is just before Gary Lineker went to Barcelona. That was the game. Lineker scored the opening goal in the game. He scored 40 goals that season.
Lineker was
40 goals.
People forget Lineker was an unreal striker.
He was brilliant. And then Rush going into the game. Rush finished that season at 34. And I know they played probably more games, but it was weird watching the game back today with the. I was watching it back with the back pass rule, and
well, you could keep picking up. You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but you realized then how direct football was, and how you really had to be good. You had to have proper control, and that Everton side as well. Wow,
it was great Everton side,
serious side.
Jonathan's caught with a cracking non-Liverpool one. Mickey Thomas's goal for Wrexham to beat Arsenal 2-1.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's a David Seaman goal as well. Absolute beautiful goal. It's well worth. If you can't find it on YouTube, but it's a ridiculously brilliant goal.
It is on YouTube, 100% that goal, because I remember when Grandstand had score.
Yeah,
when they were giving the scores, they actually had cameras there, and they went and showed the goal. That's how crazy it was. They went and showed the goal during Grandstand, and it was just like, it was mental. It really was.
Megan McCalling was everyone's favourite, probably. Gerrard's second goal in the FA Cup final against West Ham. Yeah. Surely, Kev, even you remember that one.
Yeah, and you listen to anytime he's interviewed about it after.
He said, "I got cramp."
He was cramped up to death, and he just twatted it. He said the ball came at me, and I just hit it as hard as I could.
Do you know what I mean? Rest of us who played like kicker out football, go, you got cramp. You go, no, I can't be bothered now. I'm not thinking of cracking it from that distance. Unreal. Right, Jeff, we've done too much talk about Liverpool now. Let's hear what your Wolves FA Cup memories.
There's two that come straight to mind. I think the game when Lambert was in charge and we won at Anfield was brilliant. I was at that game.
I was at that one as well. I wasn't so happy about it.
And Andy Vyman doing his best finish impression as well. That was a great day.
He did that back to back. He'd done it the year before when he was playing for. He did it when he played for Villa as well.
Yeah, it was just such a great day out. But my favourite probably was under Nuno when we beat Man United in the quarters, and Diogo Jota that day was unplayable. He made Luke Shaw look stupid. He bodied him as they went over the halfway line, run the full length of the pitch, just smashed it past De Gea, and that was just a great time in our recent history where everyone was like super excited for where the club was going, and just the atmosphere was unreal. And it's memories like that really, stay with you for the rest of your life and things like that. It's just the noise, the sounds, and seeing, us dethrone a club like that in the manner that we did was just unreal and magical, and so I'll remember it for the rest of my life.
So we could do a fit Jota ourselves at the moment, Kev.
Yeah, you're not wrong, kid.
Dylan's also put Michael Owen's second goal in the 2001 FA Cup final against Cardiff. It's a great goal, really good ball by Berger.
Yeah,
go on then.
Wigan beating City in the FA Cup final in 2013.
Yes.
Was great. Definitely... Even though it was two Premier League teams, Wigan were about to go down, and City were having an up and down season after winning the league the year before. and that FA Cup game, the Ben Watson header, got Mancini the sack shortly afterwards.
It's probably the biggest FA Cup shocks. That's final shocks, I
Well,
would say.
my very first memory of the FA Cup full stop was Ricky Villa scoring for Spurs. I think it was 81. I'd have been about 9. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 81 because
I think the rest of us weren't born then, Kev. But
that was a Spurs side you had. You think about it, that was a Spurs side that had 2 World Cup winners in Ozzy Ardiles and Ricky Villa.
When Spurs played,
and the year ended in a 1. So
yeah, Ricky Villa was a ridiculously good player.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that's a really good goal as well. It's a really good goal. If you ever look at compilations of FA Cup great goals, but I suppose back then the FA Cup really was your annual.
The FA Cup was bigger.
It was
It was bigger than the league for some people. That's how
it was because it was the only time you'd have live TV, but you'd have live TV football on for some of the later rounds. You have, and it's the same today as well. You have more away fans at FA Cup games than you do normal league games. So the atmosphere is always better at the FA Cup games. And I expect that tomorrow night, Anfield, 8:00. The place is going to be bouncing. It has to be.
Okay. Because Wolves will have the whole bottom half of the Annie Road end.
Exactly.
And it does make it. It just improves the atmosphere. Generally, you have more away fans in, so it does help.
Not quite, Jonathan. Not quite.
Jonathan said it's still in black and white.
To be fair, I actually did watch it in black and white portable telly, and I did watch it in the black and white portable telly. So Jonathan's halfway.
Yeah, John Summers saying best player to play for Wolves and Liverpool is Emlyn Hughes. It's not a bad shout. Yeah. Not a bad shout at all. Outrageously good player. Right, so I've because it's the third round of the FA Cup, and because Everton like to go out in the third round of the FA Cup, I've got 2, which is Liverpool 1, Everton 0, which was Curtis Jones, and literally a load of kids, because I think we started with a load of kids with Lallana and Milner. We brought Nat Phillips back off loan
for one game
for this game. And then sent him back on loan to the same club, which is it's pro shit house with that just to bring a player back for one game. And James
remember Larouche, he started left back and got injured, and then the Milner came on for him.
No, Keanu Hoover. Did Keanu Hoover come on in that game, or was that the game?
That was the Wolves on the season.
That was the Wolves game, wasn't it?
That's when Wolves beat us. We're not talking about that one, Kev. we got beaten that one as well. Milner started left back. Lasted 5 minutes, pulled his hamstring, and Larouche came on at left back. So
right.
So it was literally Jones and Lallana were the centre mids, and then it was kids, just loads of kids.
God.
Yeah, Cherivella
played FA Cup as well. Was it Shrewsbury FA Cup or League Cup when we were
out?
That
was the FA Cup. That's when Klopp said because we're on a pre-season, mid-season break. That's what they agreed. So he literally played the under 21s. So because that. The
Shrewsbury header own goal.
Yeah, the TV wouldn't show it, and you couldn't find it anywhere. It's really difficult to get a stream for it because they wouldn't televise. The BBC didn't give the television rights to anyone, which Shrewsbury manager was not happy about.
Yeah, you can imagine.
Yeah,
that was actually a question that was brought up in the press conference today, because apparently the FA, the Premier League, and the Football League had a meeting today about that very subject, about about what to do with the replays for the third and fourth round. And I like Klopp's answer actually. He said, look, it's not the answer to this isn't to play more games. Figure something else out.
That was it. He said, do you agree with it? He said, yeah, because you need less games. He said, because of where we are. So we play in Europe, we play a lot of games. That's it. That's just the way it is.
Non-league.
But then he said, but lower league side says it's the lifeblood for him. And his answer was, well, you need to think of a better solution where lower league clubs aren't desperate for, because it's not great planning. Is we need an FA Cup replay to keep the club going. It probably is. More money should go from the top into grassroots and lower leagues, which is
whether it's a bigger share of the away gate or a bigger share of the TV money Or as I heard on Gav did his show on bookmakers.com, and it's on there. The link is in the description below for their YouTube channel. The show went out today. And Gav came up with a really good idea. And it was along the lines of, it'll come to me now. What was it? It was, it's fucking escaped me. It'll come to me in a second. But it was basically abolishing the third and fourth round replays, but making the winners of the FA Cup, you give them the 5th Champions League spot. Because next UEFA are changing the order, the governance for
to make it
and awarding an extra slot to the country with the highest coefficient, which at the moment is England. So if that 5th spot went to the Champions League, then
does it go
by
to the
default?
5th, but does it go to the 5th spot, or does it go to you?
No,
it
goes to the league.
I thought it was doing that whole legacy bollocks thing again.
No, it goes to the league, and then what it is, it's up to the league how they want to give that off. So if the league turned around and said, "Okay, this is going to the FA Cup winners," that in turn would bring in more sponsorship. There'd be more money for everyone down the line. Because in truth, winning the FA Cup is not financially rewarding as getting into Europe. And being in the Europa Conference League and the Europa League proper is more rewarding than winning the FA Cup.
But
being in the Champions League dwarfs all of it.
But you can market it like we do with the playoff final. The playoff final is classed as the £100 million game now. It's very because it's getting into the Premier League.
Yeah,
getting into Europe. Especially if it's. But the thing is that the way the FA Cup's been the last couple of years, it's generally been one of the top 4 sides that have won it anyway. So it generally go to whoever's 5th.
5th in the league.
Yeah. I mean, Jafo, from your perspective, what's your sort of view? Replays, keep them, scrap them. If we scrapped them, what would you do? What would we do different?
I mean, personally, what I would do is I'd seed teams. So if you've got a lot of League 2 teams or National League teams, I'd seed them so they got the home draw. So then they could have 100% of the gate. I think having them play like teams like Liverpool or ourselves at grounds like the racecourse with Wrexham and people like that who are down there, it'd be great.
Me, that.
Yeah, it'd be great, wouldn't it? It'd be to see these big clubs go and play at grounds like that, and it's having to adapt to win games in these situations is a lot harder. So it gives them a bigger chance of going through to the next round. And I think somebody put in your comments as well about ones that go to second legs or replays, they're generally won by the favourite anyway. So to make them play again, all right, it's great for the money and bringing in funds to a football club, but invariably they have no chance of going through. So you might as well just put it all on one game, giving them at their ground, and have that experience that fans can enjoy.
I like that idea, Kev.
Yeah, I do as well. Actually, it is a good one.
If you draw anyone from League 2 or below, the League 2 or below side guaranteed the home draw.
Yeah, or at least have the option of
the home draw. Yeah, but at least then you sort of go in. You always fancy your chance more at home.
Yeah. I remember us going to Exeter and Shrewsbury as well, and they're dogs of games. They're absolute dogs of games. But the TV loves it, and there's more. You're more likely to have FA Cup shocks in those type of games, 100%.
Which is what the TV.
You remember when Liverpool played Wimbledon as well? I think we beat them in 90 minutes, but that was heading for a replay as well.
Yeah.
Thomas scored against his boyhood club.
Yeah,
so there are a few things like that. So, right, Jafo, we're going to do quick. We're going to do quick fire. So I'm going to shout one. We'll start with Jafo, then we'll go to Luke, then we'll go to Kev. I was just all I need to score. Palace, Southampton.
1-1 replay.
Luke.
2-0 Palace.
Kev.
2-1 Palace.
2-0 Palace for me. Let's do one. Gillingham against Leicester.
Ooh, so I think we talked about this one before, and I think Gills might sneak this. So I'll go with a 1-0 Gills.
I've got the same score. Luke, what have you got?
Gillingham penalties.
So replay and penalties.
Oh, replay, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, cool. Kev?
I think Leicester will have enough.
Oh, come on, Kev, don't spoil the fun.
No, I'm sorry. I think they'll win
Kev.
2. I think they win 2-0.
Brendan close to the sack.
Yeah, I just don't
I
want
think
him to
he's
get
close.
set.
I think he's close to that anyway, to be honest.
Yeah, he doesn't need any help there.
Okay, Spurs against Portsmouth.
Ooh. Spurs have got to win that. They need the result, don't they?
Hmm.
So yeah, probably I go 3-1.
3-1. Luke?
2-0 Spurs. It's not going to be pretty.
Kev?
I have 4-0.
I'm going to go 2-0 Spurs, but it'd be like a late second. Not the most pretty. Let's go through these. Any other exciting ones? Oh, Blackpool at home to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, Forest have been in bad form, and they
and Forest play you guys on Wednesday in the EFL Cup, don't we?
Yeah, and I think before getting ahead of ourselves into talking about that, how we probably line up against Liverpool, I think that game is probably both in us and our Forest interest. I think that could be another one that goes to a I got 2-2 on that one.
2-2.
Good replay.
Luke?
2-1 Blackpool.
I've got 2-1 Blackpool. Kev, what have you got?
Nah, Forest will win that handy. I think 3-0.
Bournemouth against Burnley. Burnley are absolutely flying at the moment in the Championship.
Company's doing a good job.
And Bournemouth aren't. So these are actually closer than you think when you think the league table was.
Yeah, I think Burnley probably sneak that by 1 goal, so probably I got 2-1 on that one.
Okay, Luke?
I'll go 3-1 Burnley.
Kev?
Yeah, I think 2-1 Burnley.
I'm going to go 1-0 Burnley. Okay, right, let's see if there's any other good. Hull at home to Fulham.
That'd be. Do you know what? I know Jeff. You shoot. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I don't think there's going to be a lot in it, and I think that's probably what you're going to say. There probably won't be a lot. And I'd probably only go 1-0 to Fulham. I think they'll probably just about scrape it, bring Mitrovic off the bench or something.
Mm-hmm. I've got 2-1 to Fulham. Luke?
Okay. Sorry. What was the game again? I was just checking the embargoed section.
Hull against Fulham. There's nothing exciting.
I'll go 2-0. I'll go 2-0 Fulham.
If there's anything exciting, the chat will tell us anyway.
It's Alisson Becker's going to be the FA Cup keeper. That's it.
Oh, okay. That's a...
So Kelleher is not expected to feature for Liverpool again this season unless Alisson picks up an injury.
Ooh,
which probably means he's off in the summer.
Well, to be fair, he has come out and said that in a paper. We'll put a pin in that, Kev. We'll talk about that when we talk about
put
teams.
a pin in that one, yeah.
Yeah, because that puts to part what you and me were talking about earlier. So, anyway, Hull against Fulham, mate. What have you got,
Kev? Fulham should win that 1-0.
Okay. Right, the next all Premier League time, Brentford at home to West Ham. I'll go first. I think it'll be 3-0 Brentford because West Ham are dog shit. And quite frankly, I think they only care about the league at the moment because they're in dire trouble.
Yeah, I think Moyes has previous with that. You know, when he's had seasons where he's been struggling, you know, he's ripped the cups off completely. So yeah, I think you're probably right. I'd probably go 2-0 Brentford.
I'll go 2-1 Brentford.
Kev?
I think West Ham will win it.
Oh my God, you're very contrary today.
No, I think they'll win it 2-1. The thing is with Brentford are a very good side when they don't have the ball. You look at their record against sides when they're playing on the counter. They're very, very good at it. But in games that are 50-50 possession, they can get caught. And West Ham, I think, if Antonio's fit, Antonio will play. And even though they're right down the bottom of the table, they've got enough quality. And the reason why, there's no consistency in a lot of these Premier League sides. And the fresh competition, just like a breath of fresh air, they've got nothing to lose. So I wouldn't be surprised if West Ham won that 2-1.
Okay. And last quick fire one. I mean, there's loads more fixes this, but we'll be here all night if we do all of them. The last one is Cardiff at home to Leeds United.
I think we were talking about before. Cardiff have dreadful season. They've had a dreadful past couple of years. Really, they've had a complete rebuild and having to bring in managers who've not got experience. So it should be easy for Leeds, I would have thought, but it's one of them. I'd go 2-1 Leeds, but maybe to beat a run over. I don't know.
Okay, I've got 2-0 leads, but I think it'd be a late second if they get it. Kev?
3-0 leads.
Cool. Luke?
1-0 Cardiff.
1-0 Cardiff. Just
Well,
to be contrary.
Why not?
You're not
Right.
going to mention Coventry Wrexham then? No? Because
Does somebody live near Wrexham? Is there a Wrexham fan
me.
here? Oh,
Me.
that's right. Yeah, because...
What's his name there?
Yeah, what's his name? What's his name there? He'll be coming up with a Deadpool mask next week. Come out, Wrexham. Go on, then.
No.
Go on, then.
I'll go 3-1 Wrexham.
Who
Yeah.
Wrexham play?
Coventry away.
Oh, okay. Cool. 3-0 Coventry. Jeffo?
I got 2-0 Wrexham. I do fancy him myself.
Kev?
1-0 Wrexham.
Come on, Coventry. bring Gally McAllister back just for that one game. Right. Well, we're going to go into the Liverpool game in a minute, but I think we need to talk about this Kelleher stuff because, the chat's got very, very upset over it. So, if Kelleher is to leave Liverpool, we better put a buyback clause in the deal, which is Megan McCallion, which is right. Kev, we've talked about this before, saying, do we do with Kelleher what Chelsea did with Courtois and put him on a 2-year, send him off somewhere? It's this year, you go in for 2 years and we're not going to see you. So basically, you're gone, and we have either a buyback or it's an agreed 2-year loan where there's no callback. Basically, you are whoever's keeper, and you go. Chris is saying, Kelleher deserves to play regular football elsewhere. He's good enough to play football elsewhere. I mean, for a keeper, he is young. He is a young
23,
keeper,
I think.
which in keepers, in terms of the keeper, he's very young.
He's a baby.
Yeah, Danos is saying, bet we keep Adrian now. I don't think so. Adrian's contract's up at the end of the season. I think Liverpool are already looking for... If Kelleher goes, I think they'll look for a substantial number 2. And then I think it'll be...
Tom Davies.
Tom Davies. Or the lads on low because of
Pagluka.
Yeah. I think one of them 2 will be the number 3. That's what I think will happen. I think it'll be a kid as your number 3 this time.
Yeah, look.
Surprised by it?
I'm surprised that Klopp has decided to say the only reason I'm thinking, and I'm just mulling it over in my head. We have to sell someone. All right, we have to make room in the squad for someone.
But he's a homegrown player. That's why doesn't make sense to me.
But I know. Look, he's going. He's going in the end of the season. He's already made the noises that he wants to go and play first team football, and wouldn't blame him one bit, because if he wants to play for Ireland, he's got to get ahead of Bazunu. Bazunu's playing for Southampton, and even when Bazunu was playing for Rotherham, Bazunu was starting ahead of him because he was playing. You look at someone like Ilhan Meslier at Leeds, is touted about a potential move from the French press. Kelleher's the same age and arguably as good a keeper, but he doesn't play enough, and he's going to have to move. Now, if it's a case that we could sell him now in order to, 1, free up spot, 2, free up funds to target a midfielder to come in, fine, I'm okay with it. If not, you'll sell him in the summer. Either way, he's going to go for decent money because he's really highly regarded. He's really good footballer with his feet. And as we've seen, he's a really good shot stopper as well. So
he's a modern goalkeeper, isn't he?
He's a very modern goalkeeper with his best years to come. It's just a case of, I think, for his sake, I hope he picks the right club and he doesn't just, take a sideward step. I think he'll go.
This is why I think Liverpool might help him find the club.
Yeah, I like the idea of the buy. I'd love to see him go out of the Premier League. I'd love to see him go to Germany or go to Spain or go to Italy, and just go on a 2-year, not a 2-year loan, but sell him. But have it that you have first refusal at a certain percentage above what you're selling about. Be smart about it. But in doing that, know that you're going to get a reduced fee. If you do that, you're going to get a reduced fee initially for him because you're not going to get top whack because you're trying to control the destiny of the player in 2 years' time when the buying club might not want to do that.
Yeah.
So
it is going to cause issues though, because we're losing 2 homegrown players in Chamberlain and Milner. And the other reason Kelleher's also a key one is he's a club grown player, they call them.
Yeah.
And this is why we were discussing the other day, Kev. That's why Liverpool could only name a 24-man squad in the Champions League. It's because we haven't got enough club-grown players. So the likes of Trent, your Curtis Jones, your Kellis, they're homegrown, but they've come through your academy, whereas Henderson's and Milner's are homegrown, but they've not come through your academy, they've come through somebody else. It's kind of the benefits of having someone come through your academy, which I already don't want. Laszlo's saying cancel Melo. Can't. It's not in the deal. Juventus wouldn't do the deal without it. You know, everyone could say like, "Oh, we should have put a break clause," but
got the wrong Juve midfielder.
But they wouldn't agree to it. And also, well, the other midfield you talk about, they wouldn't give them to us. So, no, we're stuck with them a little bit. I'm a little surprised, but there's a few quotes coming out saying from Klopp from last year, which basically says Alisson has always been the FA Cup goalkeeper. We only used Keller in round 4 because Alisson had just come back from a knock, so we didn't want to do him back to back.
Don't think that's true though. That's true.
Well, if you look at last season, he played every round the FA Cup bar 1. Alisson.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe that's how they're spinning it. So I'm a little surprised. You and me did a team. We'll do our team in a bit, Kev. We generally thought it was going to be
Keller's.
Goal.
Yeah. Look, I really like him a lot. I mean, look, I'm biased anyway, 100%. Not only is he Irish, but he's from Cork, same as myself.
Is he Irish?
No, didn't you know?
You've never mentioned it. None of the lads on trip ever mentioned this lad's Irish.
That's right, because there's a couple of lads that I want to talk to Jeffo about in a minute.
Are they Irish as well?
Could be.
Well,
no, really?
One in particular. And it's not Nathan Collins.
Oh.
But I know he's going to go in the summer. You just know, because you can't keep a keeper, a number 2, who's that good at a club. It's not right. And it just means to me that the youth academy have done their job absolutely spot on.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to maximize what we get in for him when we do sell him. Even if you put a 2-year break on it, the odds are Alisson's not going anywhere in 2 years. Alisson could probably play for Liverpool up until he's late 30s. No problem. You know, he looks after himself really well. So I'm stuck I'd love the option, but to be fair, I wouldn't mind just cashing in and getting as much money as possible and reinvesting it elsewhere in the squad.
Can he play midfield?
It's funny enough, no. He could play up front. He played up front when he was a young player.
It's not good enough.
It's not good enough.
He's got the size as well, to be fair to him.
Go on then. Let's talk about Wolves. You asked Jeff how you want to talk about them. Jeff can give us the rundown of.
Well, I watched Wolves the other night. I watched the full 90 minutes. I was really impressed with the first 45. They were really good. Lopetegui looks like he's got them really organised. A lot better than what they were, without the goal threat. But even in the first half against Villa, local derby as well, so the atmosphere was white hot. Potence, it was a real threat. How likely is it that he is missing for tomorrow?
Yeah, I think
he went up with a knock, didn't he?
Yeah, he's probably going to miss out tomorrow. They don't want to risk players when we're going into, say, such a busy period. Or say we've got Forest as well on Wednesday, and we're still fighting tooth and nail to try and stay in the league. So, you know, Mr. Lopetegui ain't going to risk players if he doesn't need to.
Fair enough.
I mean, how surprised were you when, you know, Large went and up rocks the former Spain, former Real Madrid manager,
former Sevilla,
to a side who's struggling at the bottom of the league, with great contacts, with great agent, and a really good squad. A squad that is underachieving massively. But how surprised were you that you were able to attract Lopetegui to the club?
I mean, nothing surprises me in the Wolves sphere anyway. But I mean, yeah, I mean, your viewers might not know and your listeners might not know that he was literally probably 20, 30 minutes away from being Wolves manager when we were in the Championship before we got Nuno. He was pretty much signed on the dotted line. He'd done the deal, but Spain then rang and said, "Okay, do you want the national team job?" And he was like, "Yeah, sorry lads, I'm going to have to go and take this opportunity. It's a once in a lifetime thing." So I'm not surprised to see Lopetegui coming in eventually. And you know, I'm so happy to have him as part of the club because, as you say, there's been an upturn, and you can see there's a big difference already between Bruno Lage's Wolves side and Julian Lopetegui's.
The young fella I wanted to ask you about was Hodge.
Yeah, good old Joe, little Joe.
Yeah. He came on in the second half against Villa. He looks really composed, really comfortable on the ball. Tell me a bit about it, because I literally don't know anything about this kid, even though he is Irish, but I've never heard of him.
Yeah, he's somebody who got his chance probably down to Large getting sacked, because when Large was removed from his job, they brought in the academy guys to run the first team, and he got some opportunity, and he's a very, as you say, he's slight, but he's very technically good. He moves the ball well. He doesn't give up possession. You know, he progresses through the thirds with pretty much ease. And for somebody of his age to be able to come in and he stamps his authority on the game. As you probably saw against Villa, he was very aggressive. There's been a couple of times this season where he's put himself about for a guy who's only like 5'6", 5'7". And he's doing really well. And it's nice to see, because we've got a little Irish contingent now at Wolves.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, Nathan Collins. We've got Conor Ronan as well.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see him back in and around the squad, because we haven't had a lot since Mick McCarthy days, when we had Stephen Hunt, Stephen Ward,
Kevin Doyle.
Robbie Keane, Doyle. There was a load of lads in there then.
Well, one of the guys who is on this channel, Matt, is a big fan of Nathan Collins, to the extent that he would love Liverpool to go after Nathan Collins as a long-term replacement for Joel Matip.
Nope.
I think there's a lot of Wolves fans who'd take the money right now. He's so Marmite as a footballer.
You think?
Yeah.
Well, how do you see him? Because I love him.
I think he's a good footballer. I think
he's quick.
He's young. He's raw. He's not played many games. He really only played. I think he played probably half of Burnley's games last season. But he looks good. But the problem is between him and
I was going to say, he loves to channel his inner Joel Matip and goes on Amazing Wonder.
Oh, him and Kilman are both the same. They do like to carry the football, but I think the problem is between him and Kilman, they haven't got much experience.
Yeah,
and I think you see a lot of mistakes because of their being so young and so inexperienced within senior professional football. To you're going to see these things creep in. I think he will be a very good footballer. I think Man City was sniffing around him as well last summer, and to see him become, the all-time Irish record fee was not surprising.
Archie's asking there, how old is he? How old is Collins? I think he's only about 22.
Yeah, 22, 23.
He's about 22, 23. He's really young, but like I said, he's really raw. One of my favorite players outside of Liverpool is at Wolves as well, and I was shocked to the core when you managed to get him. Was João Moutinho. I mean, João Moutinho to me is he's probably a tier below Luka Modric, but he's that type of footballer that it was like, when I watched him when Wolves were in the Championship, I was like, it was proper, you hear the term man against boys and all that. Mm-hmm. But he was that few years younger, and he was just so good. He was just so smooth. What are your impressions of him, the fact that you were able to get him in the first place? Well, that must have been the launch really for Wolves, because you were in the Championship for a good bit. So
yeah, I mean, he joined in our first season in the Prem for $5 million. So we didn't have him in the Championship. We had Neves, but
I thought you went. Didn't you go down with him?
No. He joined in. He joined in the first season.
I honestly thought he was in the Championship, but
no, I think Ruben was, wasn't he?
Ruben was, yeah. Ruben Neves was with us.
Isn't Ruben Neves still like 24?
Yeah, he's only young still.
It just feels like he's been around forever.
Yeah, well, I think he made his debut at 18 under Lopetegui. It might have been Bruno Lage who gave him his debut, but Moutinho, talking about him, he's my favourite player to ever wear a Wolves shirt, to be honest. He's so classy. And like you say, if he was 10 years younger, and I think the other lad who's we got up front, Diego Costa, if he was 10 years younger, we'd have one hell of a team.
Well, Diego Costa is everyone's shithouse. If he's yours, you love
he
him.
is.
But
Oh yeah, he's the one you'd love to have, isn't he?
yeah,
And Dick was asking, how is Neto's injury coming along?
Yeah, he should be back sort of February, March time. It's nothing too serious, but he's just one of them who's struggled in the last couple of years with the broken patella when he split his kneecap.
horrible injury. That
Yeah, it's a horrible injury. But
interesting shout there from Archie.
What's that?
Because I don't know of any player who divides fan opinion more than Adama Traore.
Yeah, he's truly Marmite. He The problem is, and we've been talking about it quite a lot today in our podcast group chat, that he doesn't have his data's terrible, so he doesn't, because we all know he doesn't score goals and he doesn't get assists, but his two metrics that he's good at is dribbling a little bit, but it's aerial duels one. He wins headers, that's it. And it is utterly bizarre. And he's one of them. He's coming out of contract at the end of the season, so I don't see him staying at Wolves next season. And he's one of them. He's just got no consistency.
But during the commentary of the Villa game, the commentator turned around and said something. I thought it was asked about the baby oil, and the commentator turned around and said the reason he does it apparently is because he's dislocated his shoulder.
Yeah, and
he's got real problems with his shoulder. That if players, when he goes past someone, the players grab his arms to try to pull him back. And the reason he oils up his arms is so that they slip off and it protects his shoulder. That's why he does it.
It was against Tottenham a couple of years ago during the COVID season. Harry Kane pulled him to the ground.
No, not Harry Kane.
Yeah,
I'm not having it. Not having it.
The English darling pulled down.
Yeah, pulled Adama to the ground and pulled his arm clean out the socket, and he ain't been the same since.
Oh, that's a nice one. So we were talking off air. So for you guys, you've got Forest on Wednesday in the quarterfinals of the EFL Cup, and then you've got the big game against West Ham in the Premier League. I think it's at home, isn't it? I think it's at Wolves.
Yeah.
So do you expect you guys to go strong because you only played, was it Wednesday or
Wednesday
night?
Yeah.
Wednesday night. So
Wednesday night,
and I know your manager's not been happy with the gap in between the games. So are you expecting you guys to go pretty much as strong as possible, or are you expecting quite a lot of rotation?
I'm thinking probably five changes. I'd see the goalkeeper going out. I think it'd be nice for you to see Joe Hodge. I think he'll start. I think Hodge will get the start in that game, and probably see a couple of the players in the defence maybe get changed around. I mean, that's probably a good thing for us. We can bring in Ryan Aït-Nouri, who's been fantastic.
He's really good. He's
fantastic
really good
in recent games, and he's been kept out of the side by one hell of a find in Hugo Bueno, who is another one who benefited from Large being sacked, and these youth coaches coming in and looking after the team, because he was given this opportunity and he's run with it, and it's refreshing to see us bring in and develop youth players and create these hopefully brilliant players for the future.
Cool. Okay. Right, Kev, Luke, I'll give you an 11, and then you tell me how different you think your 11 will be. I've picked a side that has got 5 changes from the Brentford game, but we're only playing one game a week. So
that many? Oh, there'll be more than that. Based on what I saw.
Yeah. So Alisson in goal, Trent, Gomez, Canate, Robbo, Henderson, Fabinho, Curtis Jones, Salah, Nunes, Gakpo. I'm saying rest Thiago and Matto, because if anyone's going to pick up an injury, it's one of them two.
Yep.
Jones, I was putting in for a couple of reasons. Thiago needs a rest. Chamberlain, I think, needs a rest because he's doing 3 games back to back, which, to be honest, I think that's the first time he's done that in about a year. So I think you're asking for trouble to make him do 4. Keita, not been seeing the training, so he's probably injured. He's either injured, sold, or broke his toenail or something. So Keita's probably out. And I think Elliott needs a break from the midfield because the lad's a scapegoat for everything at the moment. So Bajcetic is an option, but I thought because Jones is back fit, they want to get some minutes in him. And then Gakpo, why not start him? May as well.
Well, go with Luke. What do you think? How many changes would you make?
That's going to get me in trouble.
Not.
I would have had one more change. I would have rested Salah, played Elliott right wing. Because for me, that's but I think is his. It's probably going to be his best position for Liverpool. The midfield three worked the last season for a bit until he got injured. Then since he's come back in, he's not really. He's looked okay, but he just looks like
I think it's
rabbit in the headlights. Just like the game's passing him by. Senior players aren't helping him out.
I think that's a key thing. I think that's a key thing you bring up there. I think there are too many senior players who aren't helping him out, or to be honest, aren't talking through the game, which is what the pay. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. I don't think he should start against Brentford. I'd have started a Cater or someone. To be honest, if he was fit, Jones it would have suited him. This guy's well. I still think he could do a job for Liverpool in midfield three, as long as the other two are doing the job, which more
if he's playing in the midfield three, he's playing as a number 10 as far up as possible.
Well, to flip the other way,
but I think he'll be on the bench. But
well,
for me, I'd have Elliott right wing.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he played right midfield against City when we beat them 1-0 and played it really well. So he can do it, but he's a 19-year-old. So I always think 19-year-olds are never consistent. The ones who are messy. There aren't many 19-year-olds who are brilliant, or the Phil Foden. Do you know what I mean? They're that sort of level. So I also think Liverpool's problems aren't the 19-year-old Harvey Elliott. I think it's a lot more senior bod not doing the jobs.
Yeah, look, I agree with Kevin. I agree with Kevin Ball. I think Salah needs to get back into some kind of rhythm. He's been woefully out of form for a long time.
Going under the radar.
You know, it is, and it's going under the radar because of Darwin Núñez. The difference is Darwin is getting a lot more chances for himself,
but him and Salah, when they're together, do link up well.
They do link up well.
There is something there.
But I want to see Gakpo come into the mix. I'm not expecting the sun, moon, and stars from him. But the sooner he starts, the better. We need to see what we bought first and foremost. You know, there's only so much you can learn. People will learn from YouTube clips. Nobody's watched the Eredivisie religiously. And the games that were played for Holland, he was playing in a 5-2-3, which is completely alien to anything that Liverpool plays. So we can't really judge him on that. So I mean, this is a good test. He'll come up against, I'd imagine, if it's not Nelson Semedo, who would start right back for Wolves?
So we're talking potentially a youngster for us called Dennis Lambiska, Jamaican international, under 20. But I think it'd probably be Semedo because Johnny Otto is not probably going to get the run.
Yeah.
But
so
either way, it's going to be a test.
The other thing I would say,
Exactly.
Kev, is the bits of reading, I think, Distance, the guy, his Twitter handles Distance Covered, he does stuff with The Echo. He was looking at some of the stuff around Gakpo and said one thing he's really good at is he likes to get to the corner of the area and he loves this. He says it's like chipped cross to the back post. He said, which seems to be tailor-made for someone who's 6 foot, who is basically Núñez's size for a header.
Yeah. The other option would be to play Look, I think if he starts wide left in his natural position because Klopp won't coach him in anything for a couple of months. He won't coach him in anything. He'll just go and say, look, just go and play.
The Diaz treatment.
The Diaz treatment.
The only difference, I suppose, with him and Diaz is, which is a bonus for us, is Gakpo seems a really good grasp of the English, which I know Diaz and Núñez are still learning the language.
Yeah.
So I suppose in some ways it will be easier for him to give them some instructions because he can obviously they both speak the same languages, which does help.
I mean, I want to see. I don't mind Curtis Jones playing as left centre mid. He's good enough. If he's available, you play him. There's no reason not to.
I mean,
front three should definitely start.
The other shout's Bajcetic, who, to be fair, has played in all the cup games and he's done right.
Yeah, he's done okay. He's done okay.
He struggled at City, but to be honest, I think everyone struggled away at City. To be
honest, the other argument would be to say, okay, Henderson starts in a 6 and Fabinho on the bench, and maybe. But this was if Naby was available. You know, I think you need two experienced, proper centre mids to try because if Wolves go with Moutinho, Neves, and Núñez, then that's 3 ball-playing centre mids who can dominate possession and create counter-attacks. And if we leave glaring holes like we have been, we'll get picked off. Hwang Hee-chan is lightning quick and he loves a goal at Anfield. So we know what he's all about. And Podence, even if he's took a knock against Villa, if he's available, is a really good player. You know, Diogo Costa, I don't think he'll go. I don't think he'll start. I think Cunha probably will get an hour. And what I watched of Cunha in the little cameo that he gave against Villa, he is such a Bobby Firmino clone. He will run the channels. He will bring others into play. He's got a really good touch. I don't think he's going to be a prolific goal scorer, but I think he'll create space for others to flourish. And I think long term he'll be a really successful signing for Wolves. But I can imagine he starts and gets an hour, and that'll be a test for Joe Gomez and Konate, you know, to mine it and to decide whether they go with him into midfield if he drops deep. That's why I think having someone like Henderson dropping in and around him would be good. Play Curtis on one side, Naby on the other side. Even Thiago, I wouldn't mind playing Thiago because Thiago is the kind of player who, when he starts games, when he's playing week in, week out, game in, game out, he's fine. But it seems to me with Thiago is when it's stop-start. When he gets a run of games in him, he'll play 10 games on the bounce, no bother.
I think Thiago will be on the bench, but I think he's done 5 straight games now.
Yeah.
There's
been a good gap between all of them. So
very tightly.
I just hope we go strong. I just hope we go strong because as for the way the season looks like it's going to pan out.
This is our only.
This is it. Yeah, this is our only hope of silverware. We're not challenging for titles, and we've got Real Madrid in the knockout stages of the Champions League. Which we'll do well to get through there. We'll be really balls out to get through there.
Even at our best, it's hard to beat Real Madrid.
Yeah,
as we've seen.
So I just hope we go strong, but I think it'll be a really tough game. I really do. If Wolves can put together a 90 minutes like they put together that first 45 at Villa, and bear in mind Villa were tough nut against us as well. You know, they had plenty of chances. So it's not going to be an easy game.
Let's go score predictions then, and you know the rules. Predict your scorers as well. Jeffro, we'll let you go first. Confidence?
Yeah, I've just had a quick look through Twitter, just some of the because we talked about the embargo. So I've just read some comments from Lopetegui. It seems like he might go strong tomorrow. So I was going to go with a loss, but I did with on our preview show. But I'm going to go with I'll go 1-1 and I'll go Bobby Firmino and Cunha to both bag one each.
Okay, Luke. He's going.
Sorry, apologies for my cat. Just
I thought you.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Liverpool. I'll go Núñez, Gakpo, and Chang for Wolves.
Okay, Kev.
Yeah, Luke nicked mine 2-1. But no, I'll stick with it. I think Wolves score.
I'll score first. They'll score first.
I think Curtis Jones gets one. And let's go with Cody for his debut as well.
Red Steve's gone 6-0, goes to get the fourth. Just so you know, Jeffo, Red Steve has put that. Red Steve has put that prediction in now for the last 3 years. It's never come off.
I mean,
Joe Gomez has never scored for Liverpool in his
Joe Gomez has never scored for anybody, full stop. He's never scored a top flight goal. So
stick it on. You never know.
Bonker's gone 3-1. Núñez, Gakpo, Hendo. I had 3-1. I've got Núñez, Konate, Salah. And I think Costa will score for Wolves. And I think it's good, but I think if we get a third, it'll be a very late third. What's got you two laughing?
Mad's Apple.
Who? Sorry,
that was like the scene from The Man with Two Brains. Luke's cat walking across the screen.
Oh, and they go to my cat's ACM. She's nifty. She's got good feet. Rapid, so she'll be fine.
Because play centre mid. Yeah,
we're talking about centre mids. Jeffro, what did you make of the talk that came out about Matheus Núñez during the week? Because it's not exactly coming from Joe Blogs on Twitter with 79832 in their profile. Yeah. They're coming from legit journalists.
Yeah, it's sideswiped me a little bit. And I think a couple of you guys are asking about how he's played. I think the start of the season he struggled, but under Lage, I don't think he was really played in a position that he was effective since Lopetegui.
What is he? What is he first and foremost? What
So he's
is
a
he-
box
what
to
does he
box.
offer?
He's a midfielder, Kev.
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
So he's a very good box to box midfielder. He is very press resistant. He can hold the ball. He turns really well for somebody of his size because he's not a small lad. I think he's like 6'2", 6'3", but he turns really well with the ball, drives well with it, carries it 20, 30 yards, opens up space for others around him. And it was a big coup when Wolves signed him. He shouldn't have been coming to a club at the level of we are. He should have been going to an elite level club. But if we have done a deal like was talked about in the press, I think that is something that a lot of Wolves fans are really going to be upset about. A lot of Wolves fans are still sore about Jota leaving to Liverpool, let alone selling our new prized asset Núñez. But he is a player who would bring something different to yourselves. I think he has a lot of qualities.
Can he run?
Yeah, he's great.
Oh,
there you go.
mate, no.
There you go.
He's got a lot of quality. So
Honestly, I know that sounds really basic, but that's a quality we haven't really got at the moment.
yeah, he covers a lot of ground during
Yeah, he
games.
does. The bits I've got a theory on it, and
Go on, let's see your theory, Kev.
my theory goes along the lines of we were heavily linked with him. We wanted him, but because of the squad numbers that we have and the fact that Ox got injured in pre-season, he was going to be sold. By the time we came back, a decision had to be made. Naby wouldn't leave. We couldn't sell Ox. We're stuck with the numbers that we have. So his agents would have come up with a workaround, and his connections with Wolves meant that the workaround is you take him for this price. Liverpool will take him for the next price. Liverpool will cover his wages for the year that he's with you. Plus you'll get however many million on top for developing him for the 12 months. And we get a player in 12 months' time who's had a year's worth of experience in the league. I think, bearing in mind, it's because of the two journalists that it's coming from. If it was from anyone else, I'd have written it off as absolute twaddle in this January transfer talk.
But
because it's
the Wolves side,
John Percy and from is it Sam Wallace?
Yeah.
They're not fly-by-night, journalists. They have really good contacts, especially in the Midlands. So I just wonder if there is actual real legs in this. I can understand how the frustration where it will come from Wolves fans. I really genuinely can. It's like you've taken a massive gamble, but at the same time you've seen the type of player he is. You know that the vultures are going to come swirling in the summer anyway, irrespective of if a deal's done with Liverpool or anyone else. Because the domino effect of a Jude Bellingham move to wherever Jude goes means there's got to be money awash in football in the summer. And Dortmund will be looking to replace Bellingham with a Núñez-type player. And Dortmund would be cash rich. So someone was going to come for him anyway. It's just a case of I'd be really annoyed if I was a Wolves fan if there was a fixed fee. If it was a case that Liverpool got first dibs, I'd say, okay, fair enough. But if it was a case that there's a fixed fee already in place, because the figures, they wouldn't know, these journalists wouldn't quote figures unless they were told.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, especially you say it's John Percy, his word is law in the Midlands. And
Paul Joyce.
Paul Joyce for Liverpool, Paul Joyce, that's it.
Worrying. Like you say, it's worrying that we do something like that. But are you going to thinking about Bellingham? Is it something that you guys are going to bring in Bellingham and Núñez next summer?
I think the way that Liverpool are set up at the minute, when we've got the likes of Ox, Naby, James Milner, all leaving the club, potentially Bobby Firmino leaving the club as well.
Don't forget Arthur Melo.
But
those 13 minutes were brilliant.
But it's a big chunk of wages that are also leaving the club. But that's 5 players potentially out the door in January. We have to buy someone. And if it's a case of we have to buy at least 3. centre mids in the summer, and it doesn't matter if one of them is Jude Bellingham or not. We have to bring in 3 centre mids, and you'd be looking to bring. We've all said for the whole season, the age gap that we've got, the age profile from 18 to 22, we're good. We've got nobody 22 to 28 in midfield, and we've got 28 to 32 locked off in Thiago, Henderson, Fabinho. It's that middle bracket that we're desperate to fill in. Those experienced centre mids who could kick on to be something, the B+ players who Klopp could maybe develop to be an A+ standard. Like he's got a proven track record of doing that. And Nunes is that caliber of player, I think.
Worst case scenario, they stay at the level they are, but that's still a useful squad option that you can drop in.
If you're challenging for a title,
I know what they can do.
Yeah, if you're challenging for a title, you need a squad with 5 or 6 of those type of midfielders. Box to box, high energy, get their foot in, can press resistant, can play a pass, good vision, stays healthy. To win a title, you need 6 of them. And we just don't have 3, let alone 6.
No. Cool. Right, before we go then, if you can hit the like button and subscribe, that'd be grand. And in case you haven't seen it on our socials, going live on Monday, we're doing our next charity fundraiser, which is towards breast cancer awareness. So there are 11 ladies who are running the Dublin Marathon for breast cancer. So we'll have all the details on Monday, but there will be a GoFundMe page. So the idea is we're trying to get as much money as we can to help these ladies who are running for a great cause. As we've unfortunately seen with Jennifer Vialli today, cancer's a bastard. There's no nice way of putting it. So doing a marathon just fills me with dread. I couldn't. So fair play to all 11 because you definitely want to get me to it. But apparently Gav's 12th man. So if one of them drop out, I assume Gav's next on the list to do the run. So
I'll tell you what, there's going to be a spot on that Dublin City Marathon outside the pub where I'm going to sit there and I'm just going to watch it. I'm going to get up to Dublin and I'm just going to sit there. Gav and Phil are in there. Phil is probably mad enough to do it, but
Phil's probably the only fit enough to do it as well.
Yeah,
all of us. Let's be honest.
To be fair, but yeah, it's the GoFundMe is the actual GoFundMe is live. If you check on the LFC Daytrippers Twitter feed, it's a pinned tweet, and that's live. If you can donate, please do. If not, please just share. Copy the link into your socials and just tell people. It's all we ever ask. If you could donate, please do. Be great. But please share it around to everyone. We'll never apologize for plugging this. It's going to get plugged in every single show from now until whenever the drive ends. So it's just the way it is. Exactly. Laszlo has hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I can't read that over.
Can't say it though.
Yeah. Jafo, thanks for coming on the show. Really good having you on. Where can everyone find you?
I'm on Twitter, Instagram, all through the Jafo show. So I'm generally shit posting about Wolves or, talking about wrestling if you're into that kind of thing.
Now you said it. I'm standing back.
So, we are,
How's your UFC game, Jeffa?
UFC not great. I mean, a few of the lads on there on Wolves Fancast are into UFC. We've got the Cage Fighting podcast as well, which they do.
I say Luke's
Luke's eyelid just
right. Eyes and ears are bricked up when you said UFC. Eyes and ears are bricked.
Luke's our UFC man. Although to be fair, Luke, my UFC prediction record's still pretty good. To be fair, it's better than some of you supposed experts, which is quite funny.
But all socials, just if you search your phone, you'll find me.
Awesome.
And I'll gladly talk to anyone. So if anyone wants to give me some banter or abuse, I'll give it back twice as hard. No, I'm joking.
That's just Kev. You got to deal with Kev. That's the one.
I'm nice.
Not social media, Kev.
Not social media, Kev. No, because Kevin's social media is anarchy, so and so. But
I don't know. The podcast wasn't much different. Anyway, on that happy note, thanks all for watching. Please like, subscribe on your way out. Rest of the week, is it me and you tomorrow, Kev?
Me and you tomorrow night, yeah.
Me and you tomorrow, post-match full-time Reds. Hopefully it's better than the Brentford one.
Can't be worse. Can't be
Well,
worse.
don't take
Not
that.
at home.
Liverpool
Not at home.
hold my beer.
Oh,
I've got a fridge full of Guinness, man. If it's worse, believe me, I'm getting through the whole lot.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night. Getting through
Okay.
all of it.
Fair enough. And then on Sunday, it's Fatback 4 with not Gav. Gav's on
Not
holiday.
Gav's on holiday.
So, but Fatback 4, and then the whole cycle starts again. So, listen, take care of yourselves. Thanks for watching. We'll speak to you all very, very soon.